Hello friends, and I'm going to bring today one more round of games from the Smith-Morra Gambit. Last two videos we have seen a couple of games on the Smith-Morra Gambit. Today I would like to show you games on the Smith-Morra where white plays the break e4 to e5. So let's get started. So the Smith-Morra Gambit, starting with the main moves e4 c5 and then d4 cd, c3 d takes c3, knight takes c3, and now a6, which is this kind of setup which I had mentioned in the last video as well, is not a very good setup for black. White continues with bishop to c4, e6, knight to f3, and now b5, attacking the bishop. The bishop just goes back to b3, and a bishop to b7, and now queen to e2. So white is going with the regular setup, putting the queen on e2 and the rook on d1, as you would have seen in my other two videos on the Smith-Morra. Black plays a normal looking development move d6, castles, and now knight f6 is played. And here since white has got a lead in development and black king is in the center, white plays the break e4 to e5. Now black has three ways to respond to this. In this case there are only two ways to respond. Either you take or you move the knight to g4, and after the knight moves to g4, then maybe white can continue with e takes on d6. So in this game black chooses to capture the pawn on d5, and after d takes on e5, knight takes on e5. Now in this position, I know I'm showing the moves in these videos, but in this position it is important to kind of play accurately for black. If black plays a normal looking bishop e7 planning to castle, then white has this very simple shot which wins on the spot, which is knight takes f7. So after knight takes f7, king takes f7, queen takes e6 check, king e8, queen f7 check, king d7, rook d1 check, king c8, and we have a position where white has an overwhelming advantage. He has an extra pawn, and he has in this position a rook, and he has a queen for a rook and a minor piece, the knight. So but this is completely one position for white. King takes is forced, otherwise the bishop is hanging, and the rest of the moves are just, I think black just continued out of inertia because this position is completely lost. And after rook e8, we just have this bishop to f4, bishop takes on d5, bishop takes on d5. Now knight takes on d5 was kind of forced, and then queen takes on d5 was going to happen, but we should have lost the rook anyway. But after rook to a7, he just hangs the knight also on b8, and after that this end of the game. So very nice miniature in the Smith-Morra, another miniature. And we saw that in move as early as move 11, we had this easy combination with the sacrifice on f7. So going back to the setup briefly, b5 and then bishop to b7, you see the problem with the setup is that the bishop does not control the critical squares, the e6 square especially, and also the f7 square does not have a defender, and this allowed white to execute the sacrifice knight takes an f7. So this is a game. So you can watch out for these kind of sacrifices when you're playing Smith-Morra after the normal development line. So black in most cases cannot play the regular setups that you would play in the open Sicilian. So let's look at the second game on the smith-morra for this video. So going back, we have e4 c5, d4 cd c3, d takes c3, knight takes c3, knight c6, knight f3, d6, bishop c4, e6, castles, knight f6, queen e2, bishop to d7, rook to d1. So these are all the moves that we have seen earlier as well, with the exception that bishop to d7 was played, but white has not kind of moved away from his lines. So a6, bishop to f4, and now this odd looking move, queen to b8. This move is protects the pawn on d6, uh, but I mean it doesn't look right. So white immediately punishes this by playing e5. So naturally, taking on e5 would be disastrous because you would capture with a knight, and then there is a possibility of discovery, and the position is very difficult because then there may be a capture on f6 as well with the bishop. All right, so black continues knight to h5. So the bishop was attacked, so bishop e3, and now he goes d takes on e5. But here this is a little bit more kind of, I would say, advanced and a little bit advanced tactical shot, which starts with the move rook takes on d7. Now the rook has to be captured, therefore king takes on d7, and now the move knight to g5. Now the knight on g5 is attacking f7, and also the knight on h5 is hanging. So there's no way to protect both the squares, the h5 as well as the f7 square. Therefore black plays knight to f6, and after knight takes on f7, rook goes to g8. That is rook to d1 check, and this position is already very critical, almost lost for black. So king has to move away. So king moves to e7, attacking the knight. Knight goes to g5, and now there is an additional threat on the e6 square. So here black defends with knight to d8, but after this nice move, bishop to b6, black resigned in this position. We can see that there is going to be pressure on the e6 square, both for the bishop and the knight, and the knight here cannot adequately defend the square because this bishop is attacking the knight, so the knight cannot move, uh, and also the rook as well is attacking the knight. So you see kind of multiple things going on, and the immediate threat being just capturing the rook as well. So this position is totally busted, and you can see that uh, yeah, so black resigned. I mean, there's not too many possibilities here. The queen cannot move anywhere, the knight cannot move, and this looks pretty bad for black. So we'll just turn on the engine. Yeah, so not much you can do here. So the knight moves, then you'll have simply bishop takes, yeah, attacking the rook, and yeah, that's it. All right, so that was a very short game, but I'll go back again to the critical position of the game, where I think the move queen to b8 was a mistake, and black played very accurately with e5, and after that knight h5, bishop e3, rook takes on d7 was a critical moment in the game, after which it was curtains for white. for black. So in these games, I think what we have learned from the smith-morra is that you always need to be very keen on the tactical possibilities, especially sacrifices on the f7 square, and sometimes on the e6 square, and also should not hesitate to give up a pawn or sometimes two pawns or even an exchange for the initiative. See you again next time. Bye bye.